Welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft, and I'm just putting the finishing touches on my Diorite heart. What am I building a Diorite heart, you're thinking? Well, in the last episode I built with a little bit of Diorite in and around my base, and I had so many angry comments from people saying that Iskall would be very upset. I'll tell you what would upset Iskall if someone went and built a Diorite heart in his base. We are deep underground, underneath his base, and I'm constructing a Diorite heart that he may never ever find. The heart of Diorite is now in Iskall's base. That is what will make him angry, my friends. And you're thinking, that Asuma pressing the F5 button. He might press the F3 button. What a derp. Oh, you thought you were going to read the coordinates, did ya? You thought Asuma didn't know about editing videos in post. Well, I do. You can't see those numbers, but I will put something else on the screen. Is it a cryptic clue that you can decipher to give Iskall the coordinates? No, it's not. It's nothing but a random jumble of numbers. I am going to leave this here, and Iskall may never ever find it. Finally, I've made it back to my base, and I just could have thought about it for a second. Didn't I say that we were done with the interiors of this place? Am I actually going to leave these flying things around? I think I might have said in a previous episode that I wanted to keep them. They just all of a sudden felt very out of place when I walked back into here. The UFO will definitely stay, of course. It is now the home of our villagers. But these other airships and the like, I'm not so sure about, but we're not concerned about that right now. I need to do some resource gathering, and one of the things that I wanted to do was look through all of these different shulker boxes right here. So quickly I'm going to move that anvil to the side. I'm going to put a chest down the front here, and then I'm going to go and pick up all of the shulker boxes and put them inside this chest. And if you've been watching the Let's Play Minecraft Together series, this probably ain't going to surprise you whatsoever. Let's quickly, well, you're going to see it. Yeah, I am now playing Hermitcraft with this mod installed. It is a client-side mod. It is an aesthetic visual mod. It doesn't really affect anything other than being able to see what in those boxes without placing them down on the ground. Now, normally what vanilla does is it gives you a little list of the first 5 items, but with this mod it will actually show you everything that's in there and stack them together. And so I don't see too much gravel and sand at the moment, so that's unfortunate. Was there a little bit of sand? No. I'm going to have to go and gather some right now. And where was that empty shulker box as well? I wanted to hold on to you. We're going to fill this thing up with gravel and sand because we're going to be making a particular material. If you are interested in that mod, by the way, I made a tutorial on it yesterday, so there'll be a card on the screen if you want to go check that out. And it will show you how to download and install that mod. It is client-side. That means you can put it on your own client and then use it anywhere you like. This is the stuff that I'm looking for, by the way. Black concrete powder. We're going to need this for a project we're about to start. That is just regular black concrete. I may end up needing a little bit of that as well, actually, so we might as well hold on to this stuff. But we need this for a project known as the Black Hole. The Black Hole project, I think I might have even announced it a long time ago. And then it's sort of been forgotten about and been weighing on my mind occasionally, thinking, I should do this. I should really do this. I've been looking forward to this one for a long time. Peeps, today is the day that we make the black hole, and the black hole is right here. This is a part of the biome project where all of a sudden a part of the land is engulfed into a mysterious, ominous black hole which sucks everything into it. And I have been thinking about the different things we need to do to make this happen for the longest time. It is going to be a sort of technical building project of all things. We are going to get very fancy with the techniques that we are going to employ here because we have to hit a very specific target, which is to keep those blocks down there, the lowest blocks in the world that mob spawning looks for, because directly underneath it there is a creeper farm. So I want to refresh your memory, but the best way to do that is with the camera account so we can actually see the creeper farm as it is hidden away in total darkness. You can see the creepers spawn on these stone brick platforms, and then they get scared by the cats that are sitting in this area, and that shuffles them into these water streams. Now the water stream will lead to a water elevator, which is over here. They go to the top of that, they take some damage, fall down the other side, and then they get shot by a skeleton. So not only do we get gunpowder, we will also be getting records as well. But anyway, before I get too carried away with this project, what I need to do next is gather up some sand and some gravel. So, an entire shulker box worth of sand. We're going to need this to get some glass as well. So I'll fill up the rest of my inventory with gravel. But as I always do when I'm in this area, it's time for my mandatory amazement at how much stuff we have mined over here. Seriously, I had to walk a really long distance when I first came here just to find some area that was sort of fresh. Us hermits, we have gone ham on this desert, I tell you. I just want to say, I love this mods. Didn't need to take this out of my inventory. I'm looking for a bed, and usually I have one in my toolbox, but there isn't one in there, and I don't have to take it out to find that. So I don't know where my bed's gone, but hey, it saved me a little bit of time, right? Oh, if you left a comment laughing at me. Oh, GG. I didn't notice it. I was only looking at the shulker boxes. Well, I got myself a new shovel and I found where the bed is. And I've picked out a shovel that has Fortune 3 on it. Clearly, my brain isn't working at the moment. Well, this is taking a lot longer than expected. If I need to get this gravel, I need to repair my tools, don't I? And job done at the moment. Rightio then. I think we can see the base from here. We can see a beacon of the base and some sort of stuff floating around. Wow, that's been there since like the very first days on the server, or at least on this part of the server. Anyway, full inventory of gravel. Let's go sort these materials out. This is a big old amount of space that needs cleaning up, right? The first thing that I would like to do is get down here and actually remove some of these slabs, because when we were checking this place out, oh, I can hear the creepers. When we were checking it out with our camera account, I noticed that there was quite a lot of space above the top set of trapdoors, and I believe originally what I was going to do was create 3 floors in total. So if we look at the space there, there is 1 and then 2. So if we were to put stone bricks here, 1 and 2. So yes, there was going to be another row of trapdoors up here. So if we press F3 and G and we look at the sub-chunk line, it is just there. So as soon as we place blocks above there, we lower the spawn rates of what's going on down here. And I would like the ceiling of this place to be made out of these blocks right here. And that didn't place it because I got to hold down shift. So what we might do is put these directly on top of there. In fact, we probably will. And then maybe we'll put string in these gaps. And then we can have this stuff going all the way across. So it's like a flat roof. So I guess it's a good time to explain the sub-chunk again, just in case you forgot how that all works. The spawning algorithm is going to work so much faster when it doesn't have to go all the way up looking for blocks above. So, if we have any solid blocks like this where a mob can spawn above this sub-chunk, we lower the spawn rates. So what we're going to have to do on top of these blocks though is put in glass. And glass is one of those blocks we can place up above and it won't lower the spawn rate. Now there is another factor going on here, is that we have different biomes in this area. Over in these sides we have the mushroom biome, so in these parts here there's actually nothing spawning on those platforms, and what I'm going to do is simply fill this all in with stone. However, moving upwards here, we're going to have to start to use another material, and originally for some reason in my mind I had this stuck in my head for ages that we would just use concrete powder for the entire project, which seems a little bit absurd because it is affected by gravity, and that means it's quite likely that we'll manage to mess it up at some point. So for the walls going up, we're going to experiment with some black concrete here. What I will basically do is rip out bits like, well, let's pick a good spot. Let's just start right here, and I will place black concrete there, and then this will go upwards because there's nothing going to be spawning in this column right here as it is a different biome. So then we will fill this black concrete going all the way up to the top. And once we've filled in a bit of this, we'll be ready to start doing some experiments with more glass, because I want to create a fog effect so that you can't really see the walls looking down into this area, as the shape is kind of odd. But anyway, let's get this bottom area handled first of all. I need to put glass on top of all of this. We need to do those walls going all the way around the edge, and I need to find some string so I can float some of this powder just across these gaps. Just doing the business over here. I always find this machine satisfying. Of course, we don't really need all of our concrete powder right now, do we? So we can convert it into this stuff. Alright, all of the blocks are getting filled in. I'm hearing cats meowing 24/7. It might be starting to drive me mad, which is cool, because next we're going to go up top and we're not going to be looking at this again. So, last couple of blocks, and voila. That's a really good start to this project. Let's jump on the ladder, which we can't do. Going to place a block there and look down into this thing. So we've got to turn this into a black hole, remember. Now the next effect that I want to try and achieve is the fog effect, which Iskall has been using a lot on this server. So I'm going to head up to the top somewhere and we're going to place down several layers of glass and see if we can kind of remove the visibility of this area down below. So if I haven't miscounted, we are working with about 5 layers of glass, and as I move around, what you should be able to see is that the edge down the bottom there is kind of obvious. Now that is where it goes from black to the stone colour here, so that may be not a problem, but it does distort it, it does make it look difficult, and I think that's going to achieve what we're after here. We're going to bring this shape up to a certain height, and then at some point we need to transform it into a circular shape. So as long as we're distorting that shape down below, then it should do the trick. So I think we kind of just need to expand the amount of glass we're working with, move the concrete up the walls a little bit, and then we'll have a better idea as to if this is going to work or not. So far in this project I've used 2 stacks of ink sacs, and I was thinking that we might end up using a lot of this stuff. We ain't even going to put a dent in it. Right now though, I'm making my, second 8 stacks of concrete powder, so I'm sort of keeping track of things as we go along here, but I'm going to convert all of that into concrete blocks now. I have gone and made another 16 stacks, so that's 32 stacks of this stuff in total so far. And I've been kind of looking down there and thinking, do you know what, if we had just put this stuff on there instead of the powder, then it would have been as dark as everything else around here. And I don't know why I didn't think of that, I just had the powder stuck in my head for the longest time. But this colour is darker, and that'll make it easier for it to kind of be hidden by the glass. But we're going to throw an ender pearl up here and have another check. I haven't checked at all actually the entire time I've been building all of that. So let's stand on top of the glass, and it's actually now really difficult to see where the edge is. You can kind of just about make it out. So what I may do is either add more glass here, which could mean more lag, or we actually go down to the bottom and tear out the concrete powder. So I had to take a trip to the desert to stock up on sand so we can make glass, and now that we can look at it like this, I think there's no reason to rip out the material down the bottom. By the way, we're up to 44 stacks of that material and 16 stacks of glass now. We're going to need a heck of a lot more because the next step is for us to start to make the black hole shape. Now it's going to be circular. I don't want a perfect circle, I want something organic, but mostly circular. You know what I mean. Anyway, we kind of need to figure out where a center point for this area is, and then we can build a circle shape starting at the top here, which we're then going to slowly transform upwards, as you'll see that the bottom layer of glass here is just 1 block above where the edge is there. So we are all ready to start transforming this into a circular shape. So this idea here is turning out to be pretty interesting. Currently I'm on an old plot on play.xisumavoid.com, and I have used the Schematica mods to basically make a little schematic of part of the world that we were in, and I haven't actually pasted it into this world. I've just left it here with the schematic on view so I can go and place blocks inside of this space. Now what I was going to do is rebuild it here in creative, but we don't actually need to do that, and I can also trim this a little bit as well. If I go to this one over here, and I think it's all below, and then I move the layers up a little bit. Yeah, let's get it to that level there where I've gone and put in the concrete, and then from the middle here I can run a command to create a cylinder of sorts. Let's go for a size 11 here, and we can start to make that circle that I've been talking about. Now it looks like this thing needs to be a little bit bigger, but the position of this thing in the center is probably pretty accurate. And sometimes guessing things by eye, you tend to get that. So let's try size 15 now, and we should see, yeah, it goes around all of the edges. So then it's a question of where does it come close to the edges? Like over here, it's actually not quite enough. So maybe we move it in that direction a couple of blocks, and if we do so, it'll probably be fine on this corner over here. So I've wiggled it around a little bit, and I found a nice spot right here. This seems to be relatively central, and I thought I should point out that we're not going to be building a perfect circle around this thing. It is going to be organic, but in order to achieve that organic shape, what we need to do is build this thing upwards. And when I made that schematic on the Hermitcraft server, I could have done with making it a lot taller actually, because then I could see where these circles are going to go into the surrounding terrain, as what I want to do is basically make some sort of guide circles, because this thing is going to get bigger as it goes upwards. So maybe then here it's going to be that size, and then what was it, 1, 2, like that. And we could go up again and we could say 19 at this point right here, and you can see the thing is slowly expanding and it's creating a sort of black hole effect, like things get sucked down into the middle. Yeah, you know where I'm going with this, right? So here it is, larger schematic, larger circles, and I guess what I probably had in mind was a bit more of a cone effect, where as it comes outwards it starts to curve out. That would actually be a funnel. I think a cone sort of comes out at a steady pace here, but as you can see it just kind of comes out rather steadily, and these are going to be guidelines, so we can then take this and do the same thing in reverse on Hermitcraft, and that will allow us to see where various things are. And over here there is a sand wall which actually has an ocean behind it, so that's going to be a problem as well. You can even see the water right here. Well, I think I'm going to have to go back to the plot world, because this is supposed to be lower down here. Somehow I just got my wires crossed when putting this together. If we look at the bottom, I've used the edge there as a reference point, so I didn't really have a reference point to the glass, which is something that I should add. Makes it easier to put the schematic in the right position, because what you've got to do is come in here and put in the correct numbers. But you can see a couple of the blocks going upwards, and then it comes out way higher up here, and I sort of planned it so that those blocks at the top would be level with this dirt right here. So we've got to get that corrected, and then what we're going to have to do is some terraforming here, because underneath this dirt there isn't actually anything going on at all, and that is going to be a very interesting project. There we go, I've pushed our emerald rings closer together and they come up to just above here, which is perfect. So what we are going to work on next is basically some landscaping, bringing the dirt and other materials downwards and around through this water as if it were like a natural extension of the land. So it's not entirely natural looking, and we should jump in the water while we still have some night vision here. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it to activate on the replay, so it looked a little bit murky, the footage there. It looks better on that side over there, I think, than this side, but the obvious problem is that we've got patches of sand, and then at a particular height gravel comes into play. So I think what I'll do, sometime during a live stream in the future, I'll run over here, grab some gravel, and just plop it down around the bottom edges. But it gives us the space that we need to hide the emeralds on the inside, which you can't see at the moment because I'm not using that mod anymore. There's something else that we need to take care of right now. Aha, there it is, sponges. We are going to need lots and lots of sponges. Let's grab all of those. And probably not enough to do this in one go, and I am actually going to try and attempt it straight away. So if we head over here, and I whack out a load of sand and try and get through to the other side. Now we got this big cavern right here that's just full of water that needs removing. This is actually going to be disastrous, I think. This is going to be super difficult to get rid of. So if I just spam a couple of these around here, I think the water is basically going to fill itself back up in most of the places. Yeah, which means we have to do the typical thing of placing down a bunch of dividers to divide up all of the water. This doesn't look pretty. Right, I think what we'd be wise to do now is just leave this alone at the moment and start working on the circle, and then we'll probably just remove the water where we're building our circle going outwards. Otherwise, removing all of this could be a huge pain in the butt, and we're probably actually not going to need to remove all of this. So, building this is going to be strange. Well, actually, maybe just explaining it is going to be strange because it's kind of a lot to look at, but when you're here in the world building, you kind of know what's going on. So, this is glass, all purpley, and below it there is a 1 block gap. If that ever becomes a 2 block gap, I believe that spiders may be able to spawn in it. So, as we build upwards here, wherever we have like a ledge like so, this is the block, this is the glass, if ever it's too deep, I believe that means spiders will be able to spawn in that space. It may need to be like a 3x3 area, but at 1 deep it should be okay. So that means that glass is going to be at this height here. And then that means the area in which we can push back the most is the block below where the glass is, right? So let's say we want to push back by 3 blocks because we've got a lot of space to make up. Then we do that on this level so the glass goes over the top and nothing spawns in it. I hope that makes sense. And over here there's not much of an example of it because this is relatively close to that corner. Over there, for example, there's going to be a lot of that going on. But as of right now, I think what I'm going to do is just continue placing down some glass. I need to make another trip to the desert and the ocean to get more sand and gravel together. And I think I will try and get, we'll try and get the first set of glass in around this first floor done. And then take a step back and look at it without the schematica mod on, because it's making everything purple, which is kind of disorientating. There is a very strange visual effect going on at the moment. It's like an optical illusion. I'm seeing so much purple that when I turn around and look up there, it looks green for a moment. And then if I walk closer towards it, my mind kind of settles down and it's grey. But after you've just been looking at this tint right here, it just feels green when you look up it. It's so strange. This schematica mod does a couple of other things as well. It does connected textures, which looks kind of odd and is actually messing up me looking down here and trying to figure out what's going on, as well as that layer right there. However, I've assigned a hotkey to change the modes, which helps me when I'm working on this, and you can see that the first layer is sort of done. If you look at those orange blocks, those are the sort of circle shape that we're working to. So over here it comes quite close to it. In fact, it goes right up to it. And then over on this side, we don't even have sight of it. So I'm trying to make the sides a little unique from one another, you know, so it doesn't go straight into a circle. But I think what I should do is probably put my camera account on here so we can see it without these connected textures. We have got a long way to go here, my friends, and look at how black and ominous that is at the moment. We need to actually break that up now, I think, and start to get it to merge with the terrain above. The way we're going to do that is by switching over to this material down here. It's slightly lighter, it has a little bit of texture, it's going to be easy to mix in with other blocks. So from these edges here, that's the last time we're going to use strictly concrete blocks all the way around the edge. We're going to start mixing up with some of the powder blocks as well, which means I probably want to stay away from this corner as I need to remove all of this water. So then as we bring it up, I'm hoping that it'll start to look less and less black around the edges. Also, there are 2 layers of glass here. It's kind of hard to see. If I go between it, you can see we no longer have the connected textures and that there's 2 layers right there. But we've got a lot of work ahead of ourselves to build all of this up. And I'm getting to a point now where it's starting to take a very long time to make a short amount of progress. And I need to do a lot of gathering of resources as well. You know, we spent a lot of time this episode working on that project. It's always good to shake and change things up as you go along, and we're heading back over here to the gaming district to actually create a map of this area. As you can now see, a lot of this place has sort of been cordoned off into its little islands that are floating around the water. We're slowly removing all of the mycelium. It's looking fantastic, and I'd like to make a map of the area. And also, we got the Hardcore Hermits project that we worked on from the last episode. Got lots of positive feedback about the logo here, not so much about this structure. Hey, I wasn't trying to make a work of art, I was actually just trying to make something straightforward and simple. But in typical Asuma fashion, everything's got to be bigger than I have time for. So down here you can see we've made this dark and gloomy kind of room with a giant heart there, and I spent a lot of time just working out where it would fit in the room to feel right. So if you look at that one, it's kind of awkward, right? But this just feels perfectly positioned, and then we can walk down in front of it and go to either side. So we're looking at black wall down the bottom and then just stone bricks everywhere else. I think once we've got this repeated on the other side, we've built our little memento rooms, we can start to work on details and shapes. But I'm very happy with that, and that's just something I'm going to work on during live streams now, so I'll show you it again in the future, probably when it is finished. So, we need to make a map, and I want to start off by standing in a roughly central area. In fact, we're going to go and stand where I think I will put this map, because we're going to put it up on display. That's probably me throwing items away over there, so no one else has been in this area for a while. Yes, so this little spot next to Mumbo's, I put down some orange, and then there's nothing to go in here, so I figured maybe we could just put a little wall up that has the map on it. So let's start off by getting a map. I've made 9 because we might make a grid. In fact, we will. We'll make a grid of these. So let's open it up. And we're kind of off to the side a little bit, but I believe that we have fully explored all of what's on that map. And this is probably going to be the centerpiece since it has the circle in it. Excellent. Right, so if we go and walk over this way a little bit, we can open up another map. I also just want to comment on how lovely and colourful that map looks right there. Let's get our second one in place. Here we go. Wow, that looks really cool as well. I love the detail on the roof of the boat bros and also the xylophone at the back. That's looking fantastic. Alright, I think what I'll do is I'll make the little map wall and we'll put these on one by one. Feel like I need to say it again, I'm not working for a look of art here. I will put in some colours around the outside and I think a lamp on either side. But for now that will do. Maybe I'll come over here in a live stream and build it up and make it look a little nicer. But I just wanted to get this in place because it was a cool idea. So that one is going to be the centre because it's got the circle bit in. Shame it wasn't quite centred on the map. But the cool thing here is that we're going to fit everything in, I believe, because we can see one of the furthest away points over there, which is the xylophone. So when we put in the other ones around here, we should pretty much get most of the gaming district in place. So I think what I'm going to do is go to the corner of Mumbo's building over here and open a map, and then go to that corner there and open one. Just to be sure, let's hop off the top of the building and try it over here. Yep, that's good. Need to explore in this direction a little bit. And now we're going to do this next one mid-air. We're in the right area. Let's open it up. And we've explored all the way in that direction. Fantastic. Alright, there's one, there's another, and everything gets to fit in. Even Tango's game that is off on that little island gets to fit in this place. One thing that probably won't get missed is Cub fans' snowy area game, the Olympic sports, all of that stuff, but that looks like it'll fit into that space, no problem. So we have a part of that here, and another part of it there, and yeah, it's going to fit in, so that little bit will have part of Cub fans' game, but the rest of it, I think we'll start to see some of Joe Hills' base. This, my friends, is a strange place. There is all sorts of different sheep around here, and also just chorus fruit growing in and amongst the trees, and lots of gravel on the ground. And a lovely little path here. It's very, very odd, very interesting. And then this big open area full of gravel as well. Strange stuff. And there is the mighty Castle Ravenloft as well, which Joe has been working on relentlessly this season. Not sure how far from finished it is, but clearly there's a top missing. Actually, no, that might be intentional. Kind of looks like it's got those little gaps going around the outside, right? I forget what those are called. Someone will comment telling me. Jeez, you lot are so knowledgeable. Right, let's open up this last bit. And there we go, it's all done. Alright, and altogether, that is what it looks like. And I think the hermits will enjoy that, coming over here and having a glance at what the place looks like from above. Very built up in this area here, of course, and it spreads out a fair bit. And we've still got a lot of mycelium that needs to be tackled. But one thing you can kind of see is where the mycelium used to be. Because where the water is shallow, that's actually where there was mycelium that we have removed. So it kind of gives you a hint as to where you could go to build a game and not have mobs spawn. But anyway, we've got a tiny bit of work left here to do. I like the idea of removing all of this mycelium back here. And then leaving some text, like sort of hidden in the water. You are here, and an arrow pointing up to where we got that little marker. That might just be something I do. I don't know. And also, this orange space is now here for anyone to use it if they want to do. But there you go. That was the Black Hole project, us getting started on it. And I kind of realised that it's going to take me a very long time to finish that. Hopefully, we'll finish it in another episode. The next one is going to be a tour episode, though. A tour of my own base, which is like I haven't really ever done before in Hermitcraft since my series about my own base, but I thought I'd make a change and do that, as it will be episode 700, which is an incredible number. But anyway, that is it from me in this episode of Hermitcraft. Do hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, leave a like. As always, thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.